Everyone reviews the Insta360 X3 for the crazy 360 shots, but no one's talking about its single lens mode as a travel vlogging camera. So today, I'm fixing that. Over the last 5 months, I've shot all my travel videos so far on this little camera. And honestly, I barely use the 360 features. So in this video, I want to give you the review that I wish I had seen earlier. This video is going to cover price and other equipment that you'll need, examples of video quality from my own videos I've taken, the pros and cons, who this camera is for, and who this camera is not for. Now this video does not go super into detail about the best settings or the special 360 features that this camera offers, so if you're interested in purchasing this camera, then I encourage you to watch those other videos as well. So let's get right to the point. Currently on Amazon, this is running for about $230 for the standalone camera, which comes with the camera as well as the charging cable, a protective pouch for the camera, as a lens cloth, a user guide, and there's also a free app you can download for your smartphone which will offer basic editing features. Now I will post the exact Amazon link to the camera and all of these items in the video description. Please note that these are affiliate links and I may earn a small commission for any sales at no additional cost to you. This supports my channel and I reinvest all earnings back into my channel to produce more videos like this one. Now, if you look at the price of the Insta360 compared to the newer versions, such as the X4 and X5, which understandably there will be more enhanced features in these newer models, but those will come with larger price tags as well. Now, apart from the newer models, the Insta360 X3's primary competition are the GoPros and the DJI Osmo, which I have not personally owned these cameras, but I did consider them as well when I was first looking at cameras. The GoPro I felt was a little harder to hold for travel vlogging and maybe I'd have to attach it to a selfie stick, while the DJI Osmo was priced higher at the time at around $800, which was more than I wanted to spend for my first camera, but I just noticed that it's currently about 34% off at $529. Now, when it comes to the price of the Insta360, consider that you may need additional accessories to get up and running. So I broke it down here for what, in my opinion, what I think is necessary, what is nice to have, and what you probably don't need for travel vlogging. Something that is necessary would be the first thing would be a micro SD card. The Insta360 X3 does not come with a micro SD card, so you will need one to be able to save your video clips. I started out with 128 gigabytes that ran me about $24, which allowed for 2.5 hours of 4K video footage, which I found that on longer trips maybe wasn't enough storage, so I eventually upgraded to a 256 gigabyte micro SD card for about $45, which now gives me about 5 hours worth of video, which has been plenty of time for me. The second thing I think is necessary is buying a lens guard for the camera. Now the camera lens I feel do need to be protected since they are protruding. And you can really see in this camera how they are protruding to get that 360 video. You really can't set this camera down as it does feel like the lens could be scratched very easily. So for about $14 I got these sticky lens guards, which actually work really well. They just stick and then you apply them around the camera lens. I'm about 5 months into using this camera and I'm pretty cognizant of the lens and taking care of it, but I've had to replace the cover just once so far, as the first lens I put on the camera did actually get scratched. So overall I was very happy that it was the lens cover and not the actual camera lens that got scratched, because that would definitely be an issue if the actual camera lens got scratched rather than just the cover. Now if you can see, I actually do have the cover on the camera right now, as well as a cover over the touchscreen. Now the next thing I think that's necessary is to have a case beyond what comes just with the camera, and this is something that's just simple and clean, and then you can put the camera directly in here and then seal it closed, and this is just something that's really easy to carry with you and put in your pocket. So this came in a larger pack with a silicone cover as well for about $24.99. If you're already investing a couple $100 for a camera, this gives you some insurance and peace of mind. The one I have I will also link below, and I've been really happy with it. Now, next up are items that are just nice to have. I do recommend you still getting these items because they're going to save you a lot of time and headaches. The first one being an external microphone. I personally use the DJI Mic 2. This mic is fantastic. It's a great starter microphone that you will see all kinds of creators actually using. It does come with its own carrying case as well, and also has a magnet and a clip on the back for you to be able to connect it to your shirt. The DJI Mic 2 is currently running for about $59 on Amazon, and I see that it's currently 25% off of its usual $79 price tag. Now, the Insta360 X3 does have a built-in microphone, but trust me, you will get significantly better audio quality with an external mic. The DJI mic connects via Bluetooth connection and is really easy to set up. And this mic also can connect to your smartphone or anything else that has Bluetooth capabilities. Now keep in mind this advice: people will put up with shaky or poor video footage if there is good audio, but the opposite might not be true. A viewer is much less likely to watch a video that has poor audio quality. So just keep that in mind. So the next item that's going to save you a lot of time would be to get a memory card reader. Get one with a micro SD port. Then you can remove your micro SD card from your camera and plug it directly into your computer. This is the easiest way to transfer videos so that you can edit and upload them. A couple of items that I think you don't need would be something like a backpack clip. Now, I first got one but decided that I just prefer to hold the camera in my hands. Next would be a selfie stick. Now, I've never bought one, but this camera does have a tremendous amount of other features not covered in this video. Like in the 360 mode, you can make a selfie stick invisible and so on. Now, the last thing would be a travel tripod. For a travel vlogger, I am doing more walking around, so a tripod isn't really something that I think is important for my style of video, so I personally have stayed away from that. Now let's talk about video quality. Here's an example of the quality that I've been able to produce. Not always the highest quality depending on your lighting conditions, but I think it actually looks pretty good. So like I've mentioned, this is my first camera, and it's been certainly a learning curve to learn how to adjust the settings. But I think the camera's interface is very user-friendly, and it's been a fantastic introduction to learning about videography, such as things like frame rate or shutter speed or many other things like that. Now, I would not use this camera for talking head videos like the one you're watching right now. For that, I actually use a Sony Alpha ZV-E10, which I recently got, but prices will certainly run higher for something like this. I think this camera is maybe a step or two after the Insta360. Once you become more familiar with cameras and become more confident in your filming abilities, but also it really depends on what you want to film. Now let's talk about the pros of the Insta360 X3. There's a lot of them. The Insta360 X3 is extremely portable, even smaller than your phone. It's very easy, like I've said, to throw in a bag, throw in your pocket. It's very lightweight. Also, the camera doesn't draw much attention. It's one thing if I'm walking around like this with the camera, which I think also doesn't draw that much attention. Most of the time, I'm actually just holding the camera right about here if I want to show a part of a city or where I am, if I'm not talking to the camera. And the camera doesn't seem to really draw attention. So I do a lot of filming, like I said, where I'm walking around cities, airports, markets, and I've never once felt like I was disruptive to others or felt weird holding a camera walking in a public area. Now, I think the camera itself is very easy to hold, just by the basic nature of the shape and the camera itself. Another thing to mention is the camera is very well known for its stabilization. With the Insta360, you'll get steady, shake-free footage. The built-in flow state stabilization, combined with the internal gyroscope, basically does all the heavy lifting for you. What that means is there'll be no wobbling, no jarring camera shakes, just fluid cinematic looking footage that captures the moment the same way that you saw it. It's the kind of stabilization where you don't have to think about holding the camera perfectly still. You can focus on exploring, pointing the camera, or enjoying the moment. For travel vlogging, that makes a huge difference. One thing I will say using this camera, even though it has the stabilization, still don't pan too fast. Sometimes to me, if I pan too fast, it will get a little distorted or blurry when I go back and watch the video, but you should test different shutter speeds and see what looks best for a quick or slow pan. Next thing I like about the Insta360 is it's very easy to mount it anywhere. Now, I don't really use this feature that often, but I've seen people mount this camera to a selfie stick, out the sunroof of their car, on their backpack, on their helmet, if they're riding a motorcycle. You can get really creative with this camera, which I do like about it. Next would be the app on the phone lets you see your shot in real time. After I record a video, I like to go back into the app and connect it to my camera, and you can see how the video came out. Next, the camera shoots in 4K, which is great for YouTube. I also think it's pretty easy to navigate the touchscreen on the camera. There's not too many buttons on the camera, so it doesn't get overcomplicated, especially when you're first starting out. At this point of the video, I just want to say a quick thank you for watching, and if you've learned anything from this video so far, it would really help my channel if you hit the like button and dropped a comment. This type of engagement tells YouTube to suggest this video to other viewers like yourself who are interested in travel or camera-related content. So let's jump into the cons, or the negatives of the camera. The major one for me is I don't really use the 360 features, so I paid for a camera with a lot of features that I don't actually use. But if you are interested in using the 360 videos, then that's a different story. The next thing, like I mentioned before, would be the protruding lens. Now, I think this puts the lens in harm's way, or it makes it easier for it to get scratched. So I do notice myself having to be more mindful, like I mentioned earlier with the camera, and I strongly recommend putting on a lens cover for this camera. Now the next thing is I've noticed the camera does get a little bit warm and it could overheat. Now this is after a couple hours of use, but it can usually resolve itself if you just turn the camera off to cool down. Now, if this has happened in the past, I normally would just switch to my iPhone and then just continue on filming. The next thing I've noticed too is the battery that comes with the camera is not the best. It may last a few hours, maybe 5 or 6 hours, but not the whole day. So I do recommend bringing a portable charger. Now keep in mind if you're flying somewhere, be sure to check that you can bring your portable charger with you on the plane, as some have limitations that don't meet the TSA regulations for the lithium batteries in those portable chargers. The next con with the Insta360 X3 is there is a slight pause when you first hit record. It takes a second or two after you hit record to begin recording. For example, I handed this camera to a friend to film my golf swing, and they almost missed my shot because they didn't know that it takes a second or two for the camera to start recording. So just keep this in mind when using the camera. The next thing is when you film in low lighting, the quality is okay. Now I've seen some videos where people discuss ways to make your settings better in low light conditions, but I usually like to keep a lot of my light settings on auto. For example, if I'm walking into a store that's well lit and then going back out onto the street when it's nighttime, I like to just have my settings on auto so it can just auto adjust between those two moments. The next thing is the internal mic does need some help, especially in windy situations. It's best to have an external mic like I mentioned. Generally, the closer the microphone is to your mouth, in theory, the better the audio is going to be. Now, who is this camera for? If you want a camera that's compact, light, and easy to store, as well as easy to travel with, something that's not going to draw a lot of attention when you're in a crowd if you're walking through a city or talking to the camera, or if you really want good stabilization. That's no shaking on videos, for it to be nice and steady, especially good if you're going to be doing a lot of walking. This camera is also for you if you think you'll occasionally shoot 360 footage or use it for high-speed action shots. Now, I wouldn't recommend it if you're going to only use it for the single lens like how I use it. So if you're going to buy it, definitely have a plan to use the camera's full features, because the features are really good and this camera has some tremendous potential for you to get creative with. Finally, this camera is for you if you want to upgrade from just using your smartphone and if you are new to videography and want something easy to use to build those skills on. Now, who this camera is not for. It is not for you if you want to make talking head videos like the one you're watching right now. Insta360 I feel is more for outdoor use, giving tours of places, etc. This is for action shots and maybe beginner vloggers. For the money, I think it's worth it if you will get the benefit of using 360 footage and single lens mode as well, which I still think is still pretty good value for being maybe half the price or a third of the price of its competitors. I encourage you to do your own research on other cameras as well beyond just this video. So overall, after the first 5 months, I'm pretty happy with the Insta360 X3, especially being my first camera. It's small, simple, and stable. It certainly depends on your budget and what kind of content you want to create, but if you want a light, dependable setup that doesn't draw a lot of attention while you're traveling, then the Insta360 X3 might be something for you. All the accessories I spoke about in this video, such as the DJI mic, the micro SD card converter, and anything else will be linked down below in the description. And I want to thank you again for watching. If you found this video helpful or learned anything, I'd really appreciate a like or subscribe. And please comment below and let me know your experience with the Insta360 X3. Thank you again for watching, and see you again in the next video.